dedication ceremony here at the Parks Department building in honor of our good friend Matty Croughan. I would like to acknowledge the Croughan family, Irma, Matty's lovely wife, and his two wonderful children, Matt and Marissa. In addition, I would like to give a warm thank you to Mayor John Cosgrove and Deputy Mayors Ed Trowinski and Jeannie Barata, also Council Members Lisa Swain, Kurt Peluso, and Borough Manager Jim Van Kroonigen. Without your support and assistance in recognizing Matty's outstanding achievements and contributions to the Borough of Fair Lawn, we would not be standing here today. Matty was a hard-working family man who always would lend a helping hand to anyone. You could find Matty volunteering his time lining a Fair Lawn All-Sports baseball field, helping a friend with a home construction project, or just spending a Saturday afternoon at a Fair Lawn High School Cutter football game. Matty had everyone's best intentions at heart. He also had a way of assisting many of us with job opportunities here within the borough. Matty was always looking out for others. That was his makeup, and that's who he was. Out of all of his accomplishments throughout the years that we are honoring Matty today for, the most important quality in Matty I would like to recognize is his genuine way he led his life. He was a kind, caring, sincere man, and one of my dearest friends. He was always modest and humble, and I admired those qualities about him. At this time, I'd like to welcome our mayor, John Cosgrove.
Thanks, Jimmy, and good morning to everyone. On behalf of the council and myself, I want to thank all of you for being here today to honor Matty Croughan. This dedication is especially gratifying to me because Matty was a friend of mine, a good friend, and I had known him all my life. To put it simply, Matty Croughan was a Fair Lawn icon. He was known to all, and all who knew him loved him. He was a Fair Lawn guy, through and through, and he loved our town and was a dedicated member of our community. He was a proud veteran, like his father Tom, at our American Legion Post 171. He was a member of the Ambulance Corps, coached with Fair Lawn All Sports, and he was an avid Fair Lawn High School sports fan. I can remember to this day running out on the field or walking through the tunnel and having Matty tap me on the shoulder pads when I played at Fair Lawn High School, telling me, "Cosy, have a good game." Matty was employed by the borough for 33 years and was the department left as the superintendent of Parks and Recreation. He was known for his loyalty to his employees and his dedication to the borough, which is why we are here today, to dedicate this building in his memory. But there is more to be said about the person, Matty Croughan. He was a loving husband to Irma, an adoring father to Matt and Marissa. He was a great neighbor who took care of the older people in our neighborhood. I witnessed it firsthand as he helped older citizens with chores, with shopping, and so on and so forth. And Matty was the kind of guy I'll never forget. One night we had a big snowstorm, a couple feet of snow. I was in the firehouse for probably 24 hours, and I went home and I shoveled my walk, and then I went down to my mom's and the snow was frozen. And I can tell this story today because I'm the mayor and Matty can't get in trouble, but as I stood on the snow pile, down the street came the yellow Burrow truck with the snowplow on it. Matty pulled into my driveway and dragged this big mound of snow out. I said, "Matty, I don't want you to get in trouble for doing this." And he said, "Kazi, you were at the firehouse for 24 hours. I can't wait for somebody to come up and tell me I'm doing the wrong thing." But that was Matty. And everyone here who knew him knew that that's just the way he was. So today we've come here to dedicate this building in memory of Matty, a person who dedicated his life to our borough. This is a great tribute to Matty, but probably the ultimate tribute is this naming is requested by the people who worked with him, the people who worked in Parks and Recreation, and stood by him every day. I agree with your decision, and I can think of no better person than Matty Croughan to receive this honor. I'd like to call Councilman Kurt Peluso up and the family so we can give them this proclamation. So Irma, Marissa, and Matty, come on up. Presented by the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Fairlawn. This building is hereby dedicated in the loving memory of Matty Croughan, a lifelong resident of the Borough of Fairlawn and a borough employee for 35 years, devoted husband, father, veteran, and friend, kind, caring, and committed volunteer, remembered here today for his numerous accomplishments, valued friendship, and unwavering support of his community. And it's signed by me, John J. Cosgrove, Mayor, dated today.
Last time I held a microphone, I think I got in trouble for it somewhere. It wasn't mine to be held. Thank you all so much, everybody here that showed up. Thank you for everything. This is such an amazing thing. It's wonderful beyond my imagination. It's such an honor for our family, my father, and all of his friends to have the buildings dedicated in his name. It's, my father, for all of you who may not know, grew up on Bel Air, less than probably a quarter mile away. And he would always tell me stories about how he would, go to the pool and do things with his friends and come up to the park and walk around the river up and down looking for, arrowheads, Indian arrowheads, and making their makeshift rafts out of whatever they found and try to go floating around the river. And basically, before there was all these toys and gadgets that we have nowadays to keep us occupied. They made fun out of the town, and they loved it for what it was. And I think that's what mostly brought my father to work, for the town. He loved it. I remember him telling me stories about he loved the thrill of, having to go out in the middle of the night, snowstorms or water main break. He needed to make sure the police could get around, and our volunteer ambulance corps and fire departments, they had to all be able to get around the streets of Fairlawn, to do what was best for the town and your family, your friends, your neighbors. That's what Fairlawn is. It's a big family. It's a 30,000+ person family that we all love. And it was just wonderful. I remember coming here as a real little kid in elementary school, and I said, "Dad, you're in charge of the Parks Department. Why do you need an office?" I didn't understand it. I think he was a little insulted, but he explained to me, I need to do my paperwork, and what little paperwork it was, he said he got that done early in the morning, because no matter how early I woke up, I could never catch him in the morning. I would get up before 6, sometimes 5 in the morning to watch cartoons, and I still couldn't get my father. He must have been here already doing whatever he did, and getting the guys together, and so he explained to me, he's like, I really don't need an office, but this is a good place for the guys to come by and hang out, and if they need to talk about something or something's on their mind, they have an issue, work-related, personal, whatever it is, they'll come by, they'll hang out, we'll talk about it. And he had this old metal desk that he probably found on the garbage or at the recycling yard, and it was full of little notes from Jimmy and George Fries. And Matty, thank you for this, thank you for that, good job with this, good job with that. And my father kept these little notes, and I know he saw them every day, along with all the pictures on his walls. There were bulletin boards on his walls of what was going on in town, the tree lightings, this, that, all the good stuff that was happening, and all the stuff that he did, and the town, things that were going on with the town. These were, saved newspaper articles, which people don't do anymore. Nowadays, everything's on the web or the internet and everything, and he actually had articles pinned up there of all the amazing things that Fairlawn had and did. And a bunch of pictures of he and his workers, working and maybe playing a little bit too. But it was very impressive. And then as I grew up, I kind of understood what it was all about and how much he loved to work and come here. And I guess I was probably in middle school back here, and I used to like to miss the bus once in a while so I could come back here and hang out with my father and the guys, and he would take me home after school instead of the bus. And there was just a great sense of camaraderie and it made your heart feel good to show up at work. And I know that he and his guys loved what they did. And when I was in about middle school, I remember my father was nominated to be the borough employee for one of the, he's into the competition for the state of for a borough employee. And I wondered how he did that. And I asked him, Dad, how'd you enter that, or what'd you do? And I remember he kind of like shrugged it off and kind of huff and puffed and said, it was probably George and Jimmy. It was probably George and Jimmy nominating me or doing something like that. And sure enough, he won, and he became the borough employee of the year for the whole state. And I was so proud of him. We're all so proud of him. And he still shrugged it off and didn't really want to accept the credit. He, shrugged it off and still blamed it on Jimmy and the late great George Fry for entering him. And I said, Dad, well, how'd you win? What did you do? Did you have to take a test, or what did you? And all I think he did was show up, and he was still so humble in the honor and everything. And we were all so proud. It was such a nice thing. And I saw his actual, his punch list of what he had to do around town with the ball fields and the pools, and the parks, and how many lots and plots and everything that these men did. And my father and his crew of maybe 10 guys, and just they always did such an amazing job. And he men like Jimmy Graff, Mayor Cosgrove, Bob Young, Scott Homa, of course George Fry, and my father. They're the men and the glue that hold this town together, and we love them dearly. And my father, I know he's watching down on us, and he's as proud of us as we are of him. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you, Matt. This time I'd like to bring up Bob Young, our Parks Department Supervisor, with our plaque dedication. Scooter had the opportunity and privilege to work with Matty for 25 years, and they were great 25 years. Bob Young.
Thank you, Jimmy. Welcome everybody again today. I know that man's smiling down on us, saying, what are you doing that to me for? He goes, I don't deserve that. That's the way Matty was. I just want to tell you a couple of quick stories. I think you'll get a laugh out of a few of them. This sums up Matty. Early in my career here, I was with Matty one day, and we were on Fairlawn Ave and Plaza Road. And remember the Grand Union that used to be over there? Well, there's a lot of old people who used to shop over there and go back to their apartment, and they had those food carts. Well, one day, Matty and I were waiting at the light by the Exxon to come across, and this lady was there a good 5 minutes. Well, when the light turned green, you know what Matty did, right? He pulled over to the curb. He actually stopped traffic on Fairlawn Avenue. He didn't care if the light was red, green, or blue, and that lady got across. That's the kind of thing Matty did. Another funny story Matty and I did, we had a big blizzard in 1983 of Lincoln's birthday. I don't know how many people remember that one. Well, the town was crippled that year. We didn't get called until late that year. I can talk about that now because those people are gone. And they wanted to save some money. What happened was, and it was a misfortune, but Matty made it right. The ambulance got stuck right here on River Road. There was a pregnant lady in the back, and the ambulance got stuck. Matty and I plowed that ambulance to Barnett Hospital. And the lady sent us a beautiful letter after that. I don't remember that one. You remember that. So that's the kind of person Matty was. I mean, I could be here for hours telling you stories about Matty. And they were all funny. He was a sincere man. I love him to death, and I miss him to death. And doing this building here is a big tribute to him, and I think it's well deserved. And I'd like to read this plaque that will hang inside our building. Matty Croughan, Parks Department Building. The Borough of Fairlawn dedicates this building in honor of the memory of Matty Croughan for 35 years of service to the borough, including 15 years as the Borough Parks Department Superintendent. Matty was a military veteran, a member of the American Legion, an ambulance corps member, and a member of volunteer in various civic organizations. This plaque and building is dedicated December 7, 2013. Mayor John Cosgrove, Deputy Mayor Ed Chewinski, Deputy Mayor Ginny Beretta, Councilman Lisa Swain, Councilman Kurt Peluso, Borough Manager Jim Van Kroonigen, Superintendent of Recreation and Parks James Graff, Parks Department Supervisor Robert Young.
Thanks, Bobby. The Croughan family would come over. Matt will do the honors. We'll unveil the sign. You could get it.
I never could really jump that well.
You could get it. Matty Croughan, Parks Department building. At this time, would Frank Bartlett and Scott Homa come up and present Marissa and Irma with a bouquet of flowers? Thank you. In closing, I would like to thank Scooter, Frank, Scott, and our Rec and Park staff for all their assistance in making this day special for Matty's family. I would like to thank the borough employees and attendants that had the privilege of working with Matty throughout the years, and many of his friends that are here today. I would like to thank them also for coming out too, especially the Amoruso family and the Bartlett family. This was a special day for all of us who knew Matty. It was an opportunity for friends and family to recognize and honor a true friend. Please join us for light refreshments inside in the Matty Croughan Parks Department building. Thank you.